Good morning, friends. Happy Wednesday. Trust that you are all fabulously amazing and awesome and happy to and excited to roll into Happy Hump Day Wednesday. So this morning I was up ridiculously early. I would have been up earlier if I didn't realize at 2 a.m. that I had my time zone conversion wrong. Good morning, Judith. I was being interviewed by a gentleman out in the States. Hey, Kelly, for a podcast. Morning, Beck. And a radio show that he runs, which was, really a whole load of fun. A gentleman who is incredibly aligned actually with my whole philosophy around marketing and business in general, really combining the energy and alignment piece in and alongside of business, and the importance of the merging of the two. So, we share a lot of similar philosophy there. So I was really excited to be interviewed on, I think it's called the Money Lab, and which is under the Six Figure Academy podcast. So I'll be sharing some links around later on today about that. Good morning, Mike. Happy Wednesday. God, I got to tell you though, getting up at 5 a.m. to get all fabulous, ready for a 5:30 start was hard freaking work today. So what was a little bit interesting though, I find that while I was waiting for him, I find that I'm really super productive in the morning when everybody else is in bed and asleep. So it's kind of interesting, I got a bunch of stuff done while I was waiting for him to log on. My brain these days with the way that I've changed how I eat, so how I manage my nutrition, it's like my brain is on, as soon as I wake up. So I'm really grateful for that. What I wanted to talk to you about today was something that came up on this interview that we were doing, but also comes up regularly with clients of mine. So good morning, Annika. So one of the things that gets asked is, how do we know we're on the right track? How do we know that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing? We talked this morning a lot about your calling and really kind of knowing what that is or how to determine what that might be. And for me personally, I've struggled for years with this because I believe that my calling, and I don't know what you guys think, what it is for you, let me know. For me, it's like, what my calling is helping people. It's entertaining people. It's helping people see their own potential, and achieve their goals. I think that's really what it is that I'm here to do, whether I'm doing it in this medium or even when I worked at the bank. I worked in a financial institution for 12 years. There's a reason they're called institutions, by the way, in the finance market for 12 years, was because I was helping people achieve their goals and their dreams through what it was that I was doing, and I really love that. But going back to that, and this will all tie in with how you know that you're on the right track. I was talking to Wade this morning about our calling. And one of the things that he asked me is, how did you know that this is what you were supposed to be doing? And I said, well, the long answer is this. I grew up on a property that the back of the block, the way that the land was subdivided, we overlooked a farm. And there was all farmland over the back, and they were growing crops of, beans or whatever. Or I don't even know what they were growing. They were growing something. And our fence line was that sheep fencing, right? So the big Y kind of squares. And in between different sections, there were these big posts. They'd be like, if you put your arms together like that and go like that, that's about how big, the correct measurement, the exact precise measurement, that's about how big these wooden posts were. There's about maybe half a dozen of them along the back of the back of the property. And I would stand on them and I would sing to the crops, or I'd pretend that I was a TV presenter or a singer or doing something. I was always from the age of, that was 8 years old that I started doing that, 8 or 9 years old that I started doing that. And I didn't really kind of stop until I was about 16, 17, when I got busy with boyfriends and jobs and, all of this type of thing. So somewhere along the way, I believed someone or myself when I decided that I didn't have a very good voice for singing, right? And so what that meant for me was that the only way, and I didn't like learning lines, for drama and acting and stuff like that. So I was like, learning lines is really freaking boring. I don't really want to do that. I'm not kind of invested in stage work, in theatre. And I didn't think that I had a very good singing voice. So to me, like, acting and singing and that type of entertainment on a stage was kind of out. So I was like, someone somewhere along the way said I didn't have a very good voice, or maybe mentioned something, and I heard that I didn't have a very good voice. So I stopped kind of singing. And so that whole dream around that performance piece kind of died in the backside, right? And so I started working my job, and I loved it, and it was really great, and I was serving people, and I had a great time. But there's when you kind of have these pulls towards different things, or there's these different signs and hints that you're supposed to be doing something different. So that was kind of what happened for me. Is a friend of mine went and studied life coaching, and she was telling me about how amazing it was, and this, that, and the other. And so she did a course in how to be a stylist. So I'm like, oh wow, I can go do that. I can help people anywhere. So I kind of followed that intuition, if you like, and that was really the start of it wasn't the start of the journey, but that was another big piece of the journey with where we are, with where I am today. So the thing is that there'll be clues along your pathway, and clues probably from your childhood, that will give you, if you don't know yet what your calling is, if you don't know yet what your zone of genius is, there will be clues along the way that will help you to see what it is that you're supposed to be doing. Good morning, Sarah. Thanks for joining us all the way from the UK. Yay. Good night. Good evening. Good morning, Joe. So there's clues along the way, and it's up to you to be really mindful. Hey, Nicole. Be really mindful and aware of what those signs are, because unless you're being open and aware and you're looking for them, it's kind of like driving down a street that you've been driving down multiple times over, and you just stop seeing things, right? You develop that sign blindness or banner blindness. You just get so used to seeing all the things. Good morning, Helena. So there's that. The other thing that we were talking about this morning was around really making sure that you are, ideally, as often as you can be, doing the work that is in your zone of genius. I call it your zone of awesomeness. Doing that work that you are here to do. Now, in order to determine and really kind of work out what that is, if you don't know yet, here's a tip for you. So what I would like you to do is just pretend, whether you have it or whether you don't, if you've got it, then that's great. Pretend that you have got more than enough money in your bank account or wherever it lives to support you in a lifestyle over and above that you have right now, in an incredibly comfortable way, and you don't have to worry about money or think about money or have anything to do with money other than, invest it, spend it, do what you like with it, enjoy it, love it up. You've got all the money that you could possibly need forever, right? So you don't need to worry about money. What are you going to be doing? What are you going to be spending your time on a daily basis? Good morning, Katrina. What are you going to be spending your time doing? What are you going to be spending your time? How are you going to contribute? What are you going to do? What are you going to do for work? Now, I don't know about you, but if I had $20 million in the bank and I know that my kids are looked after and I've got all of the things sorted, to me, I don't want to be I don't want to sit around doing nothing, right? I want to feel like I'm contributing. I get bored. I'd start climbing the walls. I started my first business while I was on maternity leave, right? So, because I was bored. So, to me, one of the things that, when I look at it, if all of the money is there and I don't have to think about anything, you know what? I'm doing this. I'm speaking on stage. I'm talking. I'm writing. Not all the time because writing drives me crazy. But, I'm happy to write another book if I'm not time pressured. Yeah? So, to me, like, the thing here that I would be doing if money was no object and location, because we all know I live in the middle of nowhere, if location was no issue, this is exactly what I would be doing. So one of the things that you've really got to be taking a look at doing is, in order for you to be able to contribute to society as a whole, what types of things would you be doing? And is it doing what you're doing now? And if it's not, then, maybe we need to have a look at different ways that you can rejig or recalibrate or shift what it is that you are doing in order to answer that call, in order to answer that calling, right? I trust that makes sense. So for me, if I look back to the 10-year-old version of me singing to the crops and entertaining visitors, I'd put on dance shows and sing and dance and do all these things for any visitors that we ever had to the house. Like, there was always a performance and they all had to sit down, and it was a full production. Have a look at this. Let's see if I can get my hands on it really easily. Oh no, I can't. I had a photo. Here it is. So here's a photo of me right here at the age of however old I am, putting on a show. Because look, here's my mum here sitting on the floor watching us. This is me and a friend of mine and my brother putting on a performance, right? So to me, what I do today, even though it doesn't look how I thought it would, like, this does not look how I thought it would when I was 10 and 11 and 12 and 13, 14, 15, 16. But it feels to me the same as the standing on that wooden fence post singing to my crops and entertaining them. So you guys are my crops, I'm happy to, this is my version of singing to you. So how you do this for you is take a look back at what you thought you might want to do, and are there elements of what you wanted to do back then? Are there elements in what you're doing now? Do you feel like you're on fire when you're doing the work that you do? Do you feel like, this is why I'm here? Because if you don't feel like this is why I'm here, you're not going to be able to ride out the troughs, because they come, right? We hit a big one. I hit a big one last year. Hey, Telf, I had a really massive trough last year, and I was like, this is just bullshit. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to play. I was, for about 3 months, I was questioning whether I should go. I was considering, actually, going and getting a job, because I couldn't, I'd lost the zing in what it is that I do. I never ever thought that I'd be the type of person to say that I was kind of depressed, but I really was. Like, looking back, I really was. So when you're in the funk, or if things kind of go down, and if you kind of hit that trough, it's going to be really hard if you're not doing what it is that you're here to do. It can be really hard to try and ride that out and to find the thing that's going to help you to lift back up. So do that stuff, find your zing, really embody what it is that you're doing, and look for the signs that you're on the right track. And if you're not, it is okay to stop, recalibrate, replan. You can burn it all to the ground and you can rebuild. I'm not going to tell you not to do something. Be aware that sometimes, in order for you to build something fucking magnificent, something that fuels you, something that sets your soul on fire, sometimes you need to burn that shit to the ground in order for that beautiful phoenix to rise from the ashes. It is more important to me that you are here doing what it is that you're here to do. You're fulfilling your soul's work, if you want to get a little bit woo, and you're feeling really great about it, because that's when the money is going to start to flow. That's when your energy levels are going to rise up. It's when you're going to be able to say, you know what, I'm really happy to get up at 5 a.m., get my face full of makeup, be all fabulous for an interview over in the States. And the most exciting thing about that, off the back of that conversation today, where I was like, you know what, this is fun for me. I'm really happy. You guys know I'm happy to talk, right? I mean, jibber jabber Cindy. It's like, try and shut that girl up. And I'm like, but I've got all the things to say. I've been invited to go and speak in the States in March. So, yay! Really thrilled and excited about that. Because, my choice is, you know what, this is going to be fun. I'm willing to do it. If it's doing the stuff that you're here to do, it makes it so easy. Guys, it makes it so easy for you to make decisions and say yes to the things that light you up and hell no to the stuff that doesn't. All right? So look for the signs. If it ain't working, turn it off, recalibrate, build something really beautiful in the ashes. I promise you that burning down is like a really great fertilizer for all the amazing goodness that's about to come your way. So that's that for today. I'm really excited. You might be able to see. Oh, check this out. So I've been speaking to you guys. Sorry about the wibble wobble. We're just getting off tripod. Look at this. We're going to go for a quick bit of a walk. So we've been talking over the last few days, that's fallen down, about making sure that your content and stuff is all aligned. And I've been talking about the content map that you'll be able to download. Check this puppy out. So nice and big. That's supposed to be stuck up over here. So I'm going to film this morning the video training that's going to go with this so that you guys know how to complete the content map really easily, really effectively, and beautifully. So I'm going to film that for you today, and then you can go and download it, which is going to be so exciting. And best of all, I've done this whiz bang bundle so that you can buy that in with like dry erase so that you can write on it and then have it all planned like with your whiteboard texter combined with a book. I'm really happy with that. It's just so exciting. So that's what's on the cards for me today. We're all excitable. I think I don't need any more caffeine today. Have a really beautiful and amazing day. Look out for the signs that you're on the right path. You've got this, remember, right? You've got this. There are people out there that need to hear you, that need to hear your voice, that need to hear the way that you do your thing based on your area of mastery and with what you're doing. So thank you so much for hanging out. I have fun doing this. Have a great day. I will let you know when this is ready to roll so that you can get your mitts all on it. I'm so excited to get this in your hands. I think it's just going to make your marketing over this next 12, 14 months so much easier. All right, guys, take care. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.